What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful, delicious, smoky, scratch-made, amazing BBQ Cubano sandwiches. Coming up. This is some pork. Pat it dry. Who called the cops? What I got here is an absolutely beautiful looking pork butt from the pig shoulder. And I went back and forth for a bit whether I should do a picnic ham with some crispy skin or just a classic butt for these Cubano sandwiches. But I decided to go with the classic butt, and maybe sometime down the road we'll do a crispy skin version. But this is a perfect looking pork butt, beautiful marbling on there, nice fat cap. And you can tell that it's from a really quality hog just by the color of the meat itself. Beautiful stuff. Highly recommend picking up some high quality pork if you haven't done so before. And if you want to get one just like this, consider going to the sponsor of this video, Porter Road. Porter Road is an online butcher shop and real life butcher shop based in Nashville, Tennessee. And I love working with them because they send high quality dry aged beef, pasture raised hogs, some charcuterie, and also some amazing chicken right to your door. Again, if you've never experienced high quality pork before, Porter Road is a great place to go about it. And ever since working at Leroy and Lewis breaking down heritage hogs all the time, I simply can't go back to the commodity stuff you're gonna find at the grocery store. The main thing I love about Porter Road is just their emphasis on quality all the way through. They work with trusted farmers who raise animals humanely on pasture, that are ethically treated, and then all the way through the butchery process, there is care put into every step, resulting in super clean cuts like this beautifully squared off pork butt. And all their cuts are hand butchered just to ensure precision, and every cut I've got from them has been absolutely beautiful, nicely vac sealed up, and the fact that it ships right to your door is just super convenient. Another great part about Porter Road is because everything is hand butchered, they have a lot of the offcuts that you're not going to find at your local supermarket. We're talking pig wings, hanger steaks, nicely trimmed up beef cheeks, beef neck roast, Denver steak, chuck eye steaks, terrace major. They've got a whole range of unique cuts. And personally, that's some of my favorite things to cook because it can tend to get boring cooking the same cuts all the time. I also have a curated list of all my favorite cuts if you want to check that out and get some high quality meat shipped right to your door. So if you're in the market to give Porter Road a try and get some high quality meat shipped right to your door, click my link taking you to porterroad.com where you can save 15% off your order. Again, link in description taking you to porterroad.com where using my link you can save 15% off. Thank you, Porter Road. Now, as much as I'd love to throw this butt right on the pit right now and get cooking, first we need to turn this into some Cuban pork by making ourselves a Moho Marinade. And I've been debating all day whether or not I'm going to score this thing to make sure that marinade penetrates even deeper. I usually don't like scoring the meat too much, but I think I'm going to do some shallow cuts just to make sure it grabs some of that marinade and fill these little slices with all that garlic and good stuff. Again, this is going to be shredded up at the end, so I'm not too worried about how deep I go, but I think if we get some of that marinade in these little crevices, it'll help us out. We're going to set this aside while we get our marinade ready. For our marinade, we are going in with the juice of 4 oranges and 4 limes. Now, traditionally, sour orange would be used, but I couldn't find it, and if I can't find it, y'all probably won't be able to find it either, so this is a great little substitute, but feel free to yell at me in the comments for not using sour orange. We're also going in with the zest of those limes, as well as those oranges. Next up, going in with a whole bunch of some crushed up garlic. More garlic, the better in this kind of a recipe. Also going in with a couple of shallots because they were going bad in my fridge, and I figured might as well throw them in. Not sure if that's traditional or not. Followed by some black pepper, some dry oregano, and I did search for some fresh oregano, but they were completely out at the store, so dry it is. And then lastly, we're going in with some freshly toasted cumin seeds. Smelling so good. And just get that all whisked up, and there we go. Our marinade is done. And you may have noticed I did not put any salt in that marinade, and that's because, quite frankly, I don't know how much to add. So what I'm gonna do now is salt this pork butt now, which will give me a good eyeball of how much salt we need. Just a nice coating, folks. Don't forget the sides. Come on, be a rookie move. Big piece of meat can take a lot of salt. And on we go with our beautiful marinade. Oh, nice and chunky. I was thinking about making this in a blender or a food processor, which would make this more of a puree than chunky like this, but I don't know, I kind of like the chunky idea. The fact that some of that garlic and onion and whatnot will survive its way onto the smoker. But just gonna get this covered up all sides. So now we're gonna let this sit in the fridge just like this overnight. I'll probably come and flip it over at some point to make sure both sides are getting lots of marinade coverage. And we'll check back in tomorrow. One marination later. Our pork butt is looking absolutely beautiful, smelling great. And I'm just now realizing I was gonna throw some cilantro and maybe some mint in there, but totally forgot. So at this point, I'm not gonna do anything else. I was thinking about putting some more black pepper on there or something like that to help create a bark, but I'm gonna just leave all these onions and garlic and oregano and everything on there and just throw it right on the pit. So let's do that. Firing up the all-new Chud box, which are in fact now available. And simply enough, on we go. Oh, that's heavy. I'm gonna start out fat cap down today. Ooh, I like that sound. And we're gonna make sure to keep all of this extra liquid. The reason I'm going fat cap down at first is just because there's a big old fat cap on there. I wanna make sure we get some good smoke and some good render time on that, because we're probably gonna wrap this thing up a little bit earlier than normal. But that being said, we're gonna rock this around 250, 300 degrees for a long time. So not gonna lie, folks, I totally forgot that I put this thing on fat cap down immediately. I went inside, had a quick phone call, was measing some things out for what we're about to start making, and all of a sudden I look outside and this thing was at 500 plus because I immediately started a grease fire. Usually I do not start fat cap side down, so I wasn't really thinking about it, but let's see how this thing looks. Rookie move. Ooh, little crispy chef. Let's see here. Oh yeah, nice work, bud. It's honestly not too bad. I think the scoring kind of helped. Well, might as well flip it over. There we go. We all make mistakes, folks, but yeah, I think that'll be fine. Caught it pretty quick, so at the end, if we want to pull some of that burnt stuff off, that'll be pretty easy. But anywho, that'll help speed up the cook a little bit anyway. So we'll check back in next time I fail. Next up, let's go ahead and make some pickles, because you can't have a Cubano without some lovely pickles. Starting off with 3 cups of some white vinegar, as well as 1 cup of water, followed by some salt and some white sugar. And we're gonna just heat this gently while whisking to make sure everything is nicely dissolved. And this brine is looking clear. Beautiful. Set that aside. What we got here is some cute little pickling cucumbers. We're gonna go in with a nice little sprinkle of some mustard seeds, little bit of garlic. I was gonna get some bigger mason jars, but I didn't wanna buy 30 of them, so this is all I got. And then I'm gonna try and shove some dill in here as well. Just get in there. And then over the top we go with our brine. Whoop, beautiful. Love it. On we go with our lids. And now into a sous vide bath. These go at 140 degrees for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Next up, let's make bread. Into my stand mixer here, I'm going in with some warm water and some yeast that I already let bloom for a little bit, followed by some bread flour, sugar, and salt. Very simple dough. Let that come together real quick. And once the shaggy dough is formed, we're gonna go in with some softened lard. And now let this knead for probably about 8 minutes. Ooh, beautiful dough. Into a grease bowl it goes. We're gonna cover this with plastic wrap and let it rise for the next hour to hour and 1/2. 90 minutes later, our dough is looking nice and puffed up. And out it comes. Boop. Ooh, beautiful stuff. Go ahead and weigh this dough ball, 620. That way we can divide it into 2 equal-sized pieces. Perfect. Now I'm gonna roll these into some dough balls one more time to make sure they're nice and tight, just like that. I'm gonna give these about 10 minutes just to relax. And once they've relaxed a little bit, we're gonna flip them over and pat them out into some rectangular shapes, at which point we're gonna do our best to roll these up into some cute little logs. Ooh, yeah. Very nice. And then basically just start rolling this and stretching it out, trying to make a nice long pan Cubano loaf. And just like before, if it starts fighting you and it's a little too stretchy, just let it rest for another 10 minutes or so and then come back and try again. It's all about letting that gluten relax, make it easier to work with. Nice and tight. Beautiful. Pinch that seam shut. And once nicely rolled out, onto a baking sheet they go. We got a little cornmeal down there as well, just to give us that nice sandy bottom, make sure nothing sticks. Let me go ahead and press these out a little bit so they're a little bit flatter and wider and not too tall. Should be good. Now we're gonna let these rise again until they are nice and proofed and nice and fluffy. About 6 hours into this pork butt cook, and it is smelling absolutely fantastic. So what I'm gonna do now is give this a full foil wrap. But first, we're gonna take all of our marinade from earlier and we're gonna just pour that all over this thing. It's gonna help add some moisture, kind of act like our sauce. And when we throw this back on, it'll kind of cook into the meat a little bit. It's been a while since I did a full foil wrap on a pork butt, but I think it's gonna work out great, speed up this cook, and allow it to steam in all those lovely juices. And back on the pit we go. I'm gonna scoot all the coals over to this side at this point just to create some nice ambient heat in there. Probably bump up the temps to around 300, 325, just to make sure this thing finishes off nice and quick. And after another 30, 40 minutes or so, these guys are looking absolutely lovely, nice and plump. And before we bake them off, we're gonna go ahead and give them a nice big slit right down the middle, just so they open up a little bit in the oven. And now, into that 350-degree oven they go for about probably 20, 25 minutes. And just like that, out of the oven these come, and they're looking absolutely beautiful. Very light, nice and fluffy. Woo! Smelling absolutely fantastic. So I'm gonna pop these in a wire rack and let them cool down completely. And 2.5 hours later, these pickles are coming out of the sous vide, looking very nice and pickly. But before we find out, I'm gonna pop these in the fridge to cool down. One final element that we have not talked about yet is, of course, the ham. You gotta have ham on a Cubano sandwich. And I fully intended on making my own ham for this video, but curing and smoking and slicing my own ham seems like it would just make this video way too long, so we're gonna save that for its own dedicated video down the line. So instead, what I do have is one of these guys. A big, beautiful cured smoked ham from Porter Road. Ooh. Pat it dry. Ooh. That is smelling so good. Beautiful looking ham, must say. And it's boneless. Probably why there's this big slit right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down into some more manageable sized pieces. Ooh, got that beautiful pork marbling. Gotta love it. Ooh, nice and juicy too. A little sneak peek for Papa. Oh, that is so good. And I wanna slice this nice and thin. So I think I'm gonna bust out the meat slicer real quick. And then, simply enough, we slice away. Nice and thin, love it. But of course you can make this whatever thickness you like. Don't mind if I do. And just like that, we got ourselves a big pile of some beautiful ham. After about 8 hours total cook time, this pork butt is done, coming off the pit, smelling oh so good. Very hot, very steamy, but probing tender, and that's what's most important. So now all we need to do is let this cool down for a little bit before we go ahead and dive on in. Ooh, oh yeah, coming apart already. Nice and tender. And of course, we're gonna get all those juices in there. Oops. Well, I guess that's a pretty good sign. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, still toasty. That is some of the best smelling pulled pork. That garlic and citrus is really coming through. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just getting that nice and mixed up, trying to pull out any tendons or anything weird. If I find any parts that are too burnt, I'll pull those out as well, but it's looking pretty good. And I know there's a few different styles of Cubano. When I was down in Miami visiting Guga last year, we went out and had several of Miami's best Cubanos, and some of them had sliced pork and some of them had more of a shredded pork. And my favorite ones were the shredded pork ones, just from a fattiness and mouthfeel perspective. And of course, this is a barbecue channel, so we gotta do some pulled pork. But maybe if we ever do a Cubano 2.0, we'll go for the sliced roasted pork instead. But that is looking great to me. Let's give that a taste real quick. Oh my God. Yep, that's phenomenal. Beautiful stuff. I think it's time to assemble. Ooh, how you doing, buddy? It's a good looking pickle. Oh yeah, that's what we're looking for, folks. Always want to go lengthwise on a sandwich. Perfect. Beautiful looking bread. Off camera, I doubled up the recipe and made 4 of these because they are absolutely fantastic. Start by cutting off the ends. And then we'll cut this in half. Then we'll split this right in half as well. Beautiful looking stuff. It's just so light and fluffy. Beautiful. Love it. First things first, I'm gonna give this a quick little dry toast on the old Chud Press over here, just so we don't get a soggy sandwich. Just like that, nothing too intense. Next up, mustard. Gotta have the yellow stuff. Beep. Both sides, you know the drill. Nice even shmee. That might have been too much mustard. I'm okay with it. Next up, Swiss cheese. Ooh, beautiful. Followed by some of our freshly shaved ham, as much or as little as you see fit. Then on top of that, we're going on with some of our beautiful, freshly made, Moho Marinated pulled pork. Top that with some of our beautiful pickles. And then on top of that, we'll go on with one more layer of cheese, and hopefully we'll end up with a nice, melty, beautiful sandwich. And all that cheese will kind of hold everything together. Starting to get pretty excited, folks. That looks like one hell of a sandwich to me. But first, before we throw these on the Chud Press, you know we gotta butter them up. Oh yeah, don't be shy. I also thought about brushing these with lard, but you know, there's so much lard in the sandwich from the pork butt and the ham and in the bread. I figured butter was a better choice here. And in hindsight, I'm kind of thinking I should have thrown that ham on the flat top to warm it up, but that'll be all right. Ooh, underside. That's why I have gloves on. And now it's time to throw it on the press. And away we go. Hey, buddy. So many good smells happening right now. Oh yeah, beautiful toast on that. And off it comes. Just a sight of beauty. Oh, that's a good sign. How you doing? Loving the color on that. Oh, beautiful sandwich. But of course we need to cut them. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut them right like that. I'm just kidding. Always at a diagonal, folks. Oh, and there it is in all its glory. The beautiful BBQ Cubano. Oh, nothing wrong with that. Thumbnail. Oh no. Honestly, what's not to like about this, folks? We got some scratch, freshly made bread, some beautiful smoky ham, house-made pickles, Swiss cheese, mustard, and of course, some delicious barbecue-style Cuban pork. I gotta dive in. Pretty excited about this one. How could you not be? That is a sight of beauty. I don't think I need to say anything else. That is phenomenal. Nice and meaty. All the flavors are there. That mustard is shining through. That Swiss cheese. That bread. Oh, that's so good. Yep. Worth the effort. It's just such a perfect sandwich. You know, you got some tang, you got some acid, you got that pickle, you got that smoky meat, but it's not too smoky because it was just cooked over charcoal instead of on the offset. The mustard, and it's just so compact. You know, some sandwiches are too big. You have to unhinge your jaw. Now this bad boy. So good. I'm glad I have a bunch of ham and a bunch of pork because I'm making these again probably every day for the rest of my life. I might just eat all these all by myself.
No.
Oh, hey. Would you like a Cubano?
Yes. Clinkies.
When was the last time you had a Cubano?
It's been years. Oh my god. I look kind of crazy. I just went for a run.
I didn't. It's good.
The tanginess of the pickle.
It just hits all the right notes, but it's also not overpoweringly heavy.
No.
Somehow.
No.
Without further ado, I think with this last bite, it is time for the official taste test. Cubano, make way. Oh, you guys gotta make this. I'm just gonna keep going. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic barbecue Cubano sandwiches. I highly recommend giving this one a try. Definitely one of the best sandwiches I've ever made, and the Cubano is probably top 5 best sandwiches of all time. And if you're cooking in the backyard, making a pulled pork is super easy, and all you really need to do is make a super simple marinade to get this sandwich put together. And if you can find some Cuban bread, I'm jealous, but if not, it's really easy to make, and I highly recommend making it very soon. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!